All right. Welcome, everyone. It's good to see all of you. Now, this week's topic is mostly fear and worry, two very common emotions. Probably one of the most basic states that you can say that the mind is based on, that mental activity is based on, is fear. So today it's going to be about fear, worry, and kindness. Let's see what comes up. You probably all have been scared at some point in your life. Fearful. And if you observe that state of fear, if you have a closer look at it, how it operates, how it actually keeps itself alive, and what it is based on, one thing that it needs is time. Every fear-based state always it requires some time to function properly. If it is not for time, fear collapses. But time is one of the primary states that actually encourage and fuel into fear. Without time, really, there's what would we be scared of? If it's not on some timeline, something that might happen, that something that could get worse. All that indicates time, doesn't it? It's something getting worse. It shows a timeline. It shows that there is some future that's required for it to get worse. Or your fear might be based on something that you have experienced in the past, and it might repeat. Also, that requires time. That what I've experienced in the past, it might repeat. I might mess up again. I might fail. I might be scolded. I might be expelled of the group that I'm attached to. I might lose my relationship or what's dear to me. All that also requires time. And there's another element of fear that is required, namely you. There has to be somebody that is fearful for fear to actually be able to stay alive. It has to be attached to a fearful me. Without a sense of self, what would it be that is scared? What would it be that is afraid? There has to be something that is fearful. There should be some sense of, because it's a threat, that I am threatened. That's what fear indicates. There's a me that's threatened by something. There's a me that's attacked by something. And it's this sense of self that fuels into the fear. Very much like, I often give that example like a driver in a car. Without the driver, the car really doesn't go anywhere. It needs a driver to go places. If you take out the driver, the car just stands around there. It just rots after a while. You have to drive it for it to function. And the same is true for fear, really. It needs a driver to stay. As long as you're driving it, as long as there is a sense of self, which attaches to the fear, which clings to the fear, that there is this continuation of fear. So there's many things that you can do, right? A few that are a bit more efficient, and a few a bit less efficient. Start with the less efficient things first. But still it might help. You might make yourself comfortable thoughts, right? You can somehow counteract the fear by having hopeful thoughts. Like it's going to get better soon, everything will be fine. I've always managed to do these kind of things. It's It's probably not going to be that bad. There's many ways that, and usually we do exactly that. When fear arises, we start to think frantically through various options that we have to kind of dull the fear down. We immediately want to distract away from this super unpleasant, nasty feeling that fear produces. We don't want to get involved with this feeling, that burning sensation in your solar plexus, in the heart, in the belly, makes you all tight up, makes your breath go faster, your heartbeat goes faster. It's really unpleasant. It's really, really unpleasant. Fear is one of the most unpleasant emotions that you can feel. And the thing is that once fear arises, there is an element of fear. It's almost like a branch, like it branches out. It becomes the talking mind. It comes up into the talking mind, and then there is the feeling of fear, and then there is a voice of fear, a talking, the thoughts, fearful thoughts. And those fearful thoughts, they are somehow against the fear. And then we are identified with those fearful thoughts. We say, I need to get rid of my fear. How can I get rid of my fear? Well, there's no reason to be afraid. Actually, everything is fine. I should be fine. And yet you're having a panic attack. And your breath goes faster and you feel out of control. You don't know what to do with yourself anymore. Am I going insane? Am I going crazy? What's wrong with me? I haven't been that scared. Why would I be so scared all of a sudden of the future? There's no reason to be scared. Here, let me give you some reasons why I should actually be happy. I should actually be grateful. Oh, gratitude, that might help. Let's use some gratitude to counteract my fear. You see that? That is fear. It's like the proverbial dog biting its own tail. It's the dog trying to get rid of the dog. It's pointless. And if we don't see that, we can get really, really caught up. And of course, the dog spins around itself. And the more frantically he spins around itself, the more crazy he gets. He's really offended by his own tail. He doesn't like his own tail. He tries to bite it dead. I want to kill my fear. I want to get rid of fear. That's fear. Fear manifests as a state that is afraid of itself. And it is afraid of the world, afraid of the future, afraid of other people, afraid of circumstances, and afraid of itself. Everything that comes into the lens of fear looks scary. And so that's why I say these techniques, they might help you kind of sometimes, like you give yourself warm, comfy thoughts to get out of the fear. Yeah, okay. But it will not really do the trick nicely. It might just postpone it a little bit. It might kind of shift the fear to the side. So I'm going to visualize a beautiful, bright, radiant future. Law of attraction. I'm going to attract beautiful things into my life, but it's still based on fear. It's still based on fear. Another element that fear requires desperately is the element of control. I would actually argue that fear is precisely that. It's just control. It's trying to be in control. And if there's something threatening your illusion of control, that you're in control of your life, your future, other people, events, stuff. If something threatens that, if something threatens to pop your bubble, the fear comes out right there. Then you might make yourself comfortable thoughts again. Relax, everything is out of control. I can just relax, everything is okay. I'm just pretending that, life will carry me the right place and everything will be fine. And okay, it works temporarily, and then the fear comes back. It always finds a way in, and that's good. When fear comes into your life, it's one of the most unpleasant but most powerful teachers. There is hardly any emotional state that is so transformative in its potential. if you learn how to handle it, if you learn to make friends with it, it's unbelievably empowering. But if you're fearful of it, you can't get the lesson off of it. You can't learn from it. Instead, you will shut the door. You will try to shut your house tight. Don't let any fear in because it's just so damn unpleasant. Don't let it in. It's a bad state. It's a black, negative state. You don't let that in. It's a shadow. It's darkness. We don't follow the fear. We follow the light. I'm a warrior of light. That just simply means I'm very scared of the darkness very often. And I'm really uncomfortable with the dark side of human emotion. And we all have it. We all have so much darkness inside. And see, meditation doesn't aim to get rid of it. It aims to illuminate it. That's what awareness does. Awareness is illuminating things. And if you're illuminating your darkness, there's incredible power in it. And illuminating something doesn't mean embodying it or becoming it. So there's no need to fear that if you're illuminating the darkness, that you might become the darkness. Something that illuminates must be in the nature of light. But this is a different kind of light. It's not the light that is in dual play with darkness. That's the light of awareness that we're talking about, which is neither. It's on no side. It doesn't take any side. It doesn't say, I should only experience happy things all the time, happy emotions, happy circumstances, happy job things, happy relationships. I should be happy 24/7. What's wrong with me? I'm not. I'm feeling miserable today. This is a common misconception many people have when they start to practice meditation. They think, well, meditation is going to make me all peaceful and zen all the time, and I'll just surf through life. It's going to be an easy ride. It's going to be nice. I won't be challenged. And so many times we stay stuck in that. We try to avoid. We use meditation in order to avoid what could be, not should be, what could be illuminated. And through that offer us that transformative power that so many people are really looking for, that inner growth. It comes from actually facing your darkness. And learning that the one facing the darkness is not dark. But it's an element inside of your experience that is conscious, aware, awake, knowing. That can be trained, right? I give you a slightly more powerful way to deal with fear and worry. It's almost like a bridge element. Yes, but the first element is just trying to somehow distract yourself away from it via having certain thoughts or just doing something else. Taking a walk in the forest, doing some exercise, checking your phone, getting in contact with people. Just all of a sudden you get all these friends that you could contact. Oh, I haven't seen that guy for a long time. Hey, how are you? And then you write messages to everyone. I find myself, when I'm in a fearful time, then very often what I do is reach out frantically to other people, trying to contact them, trying to get somehow an involvement going with them so I don't have to face this uncomfortable fear, because the fear also believes it cannot face itself. I can't face myself. If I'm a fearful being, I can't face myself because it's just too scary. It's going to consume me. It's going to make me crazy. It's this endless darkness in front of me. What can I do? This is way too scary. I can't do that. I can't engage it. I need to do something about it. So we distract. First method. It's legit. It's fine to distract yourself, okay? No need to think, oh, it's bad. I shouldn't distract myself. You can distract yourself. Sometimes it's just too overwhelming. You can't deal with it. And all your little breathing techniques and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't work. And fuzzy thinking doesn't work. Faith doesn't work. Hope doesn't work. Nothing works. You're just scared. That's okay. So it's all right to distract yourself in these times. But is it the most powerful method? No. So here we come to the bridge methods, the one in between, which is kindness. Being kind. Receiving, and that's what's the challenge here, it is receiving your darkness, these unpleasant emotions, these unpleasant feelings, as a friend. Being kind. What we all would appreciate in these fearful times is somebody being there for us, somebody holding us, somebody making sure that we'll be fine, somebody that might have gone through fearful experiences themselves and they can tell you, it's all right, just feel it if you like, I'm here with you, you'll be safe. That gives us power, it gives you strength, right? And you can give yourself that strength with kindness. To know that there is this little scared element in your mind that is really worried and it hurts. Can you see that? It's almost like a little scared child that has learned that the world is a fearful and bad place, and that many things can happen to it. It'll be punished in many different ways. That'll be controlled and dominated in many different ways. Can you reassure that little element inside of you that it is allowed to be there? And to receive it with kindness. I'm not saying smile it away, but give it space. Let it be there. And you can use thought for this process. Talking really gently with your fear. You can say it really honestly. I'm super scared of this feeling. I'm super scared of you. I feel this feeling and I'm super scared of you right now. I don't know what to do. And yet there is a great strength in saying, and it's okay still. I don't have to know what to do. That is kindness. You don't have to know what to do. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to be clever all the time. In fact, it would be a very unkind thing to demand that of yourself, to be clever all the time. I would even argue that that idea that you should be clever all the time is a fear-based idea. You have to always perform on top. You have to be always on top of your game. You have to be always perfect, flawless. The way you appear to other people is, don't make a mistake. What might they think of you if you mess up? What might they think of you if they discovered that you would be a human being with mistakes and flaws? Like we all are. It's a big masquerade that is going on in this world. Everyone trying to be cool and tough and constantly on edge, trying to perform as a human being. I'm trying to perform. That is based on fear. What happens if you're with your significant other, with your loved one, with your best friend? You can be yourself. You can be totally relaxed, right? Your friend's house is your house. You can just go in and out. Because your friend is kind to you. If you mess up, you can go to your friend and your friend will understand. He'll forgive you. He'll be okay with it. If you're loved anywhere, you'll be always forgiven. People will always understand you. That's the thing about love. It understands. I'm hurting. I'm in pain right now. I'm in massive pain. I desperately need love. I desperately need care and warmth. There's that little fear-based element inside that desperately needs, you can say, a hug, but not a limiting hug, not an oppressive hug that kind of wants it to go away. So I'm going to hug you away, I'm going to smile you away, I'm going to be kind to you until you go away. This is not kindness, that's again fear looking like it's kind. It still has the agenda. I'm going to use that technique of being kind to my fear so that the fear goes away. Still not fully accepting it. There is great power in acceptance. And the base of kindness is acceptance. When we accept something, you can fully allow yourself to feel. And in that is a tremendous power. But you need to take time for that. You can sit down and allow yourself to feel. And you can tell all your feelings. You can tell them, you can dance. I'll watch. And as soon as you notice that a feeling comes up that is it's trembling, it's strong, it almost starts to possess you, remember your position. You are what gives it space. You are what allows it to play as a facet of just a natural human emotional experience. It cannot kill you or hurt you or do any damage to you. But you can only do that if you have the boldness of kindness. Say, I'm able to give that space. So you can practice that with small fears, small worries. Is it okay to worry? Is it all right to feel that feeling? Can you accept that feeling? It's a little bit uncomfortable. Can you accept it? Can you give it some space? Okay, all right, uncomfortable feeling. You're allowed to be there. I give you some space. Welcome to my house. And then you watch it dance. You're illuminating the darkness. That's the third technique, quote unquote, which is also based on fully accepting it. But here there is this element of seeing that is very strong. The element of observation, of knowing very clearly that emotional state that you're going through. And that means you know a feeling as a feeling. It's a feeling. See, when you're feeling fear, what is that? It's a feeling. Period. It's all that it is. And you look right at it. Feel it. It's right there. It's a feeling. In the beginning, you need to remind yourself of that, because your mind will come up with a story accompanying that feeling. It will interpret that feeling and give it meaning. It will tell it, this is what that means. You're losing your mind. This is what that means. You will lose your relationship. Something is seriously wrong with A, B, or C. It doesn't mean that. It's just a feeling. How many feelings are there in this universe right now? That's just one of them. Why make it a personal issue? Why use that one feeling that exists in the universe at that one moment and make it a personal issue? That feeling is all about me. No, it's just fear. Fear is universal. It's just a universal feeling. Why take it personal? Why not just see it for what it is? It's a universally existing energy that simply moves through this body right now like wind moving through a room with open windows. But the room is not offended by the wind. What we usually do is we close the windows, we shut tight, and the fear is trapped. It can't go out. That's what it means if you make something personal. You don't let it pass. You adhere to it. You become sticky. It sticks to you. My fear. It's not yours. What if you could just let it go? Just a feeling. Okay. It means your space is pretty vast. The stronger the emotion that can come and pass through you, the stronger you are able to benefit from the currents that these emotions actually produce. The vitality, the energy that comes from them is amazing. Unbelievably uplifting. But if they get stuck somehow inside of you, you identify with them, they can't flow through you. It's not a proper current. You can't be energized by it. Because you're stuck with it. So the ability to let something flow through you, to let something pass through you, is very much dependent on understanding it or comprehending it properly as being, this is not who I am, and it is not anything that I own. It's a natural, universal energy that has a right to be experienced and has a right to exist like everything else in this universe. But I don't need to stick to it. I don't need to manipulate it. I don't need to do anything to it. This is the highest way of actually, quote-unquote, dealing with fear. You don't even deal with it. You just know yourself. And as what do you know yourself? You know yourself as an observing quality, a knowing quality. Here I am, there's a feeling. You can also look at the accompanying stories of that feeling. Oh, there's the story, there's the mind filling in with the story. It says what that means. That is allowed to. You can tell your mind, hey, you can make as many stories and interpretations as you want. You're totally free. You free your mind. You liberate your mind. You liberate your fear. It's not that you demand your fear to liberate you. Please let me free. I wish I was free from this bad fear, but the fear is constantly holding me prison, holding me as a victim, as a prisoner. I'm imprisoned by my fear, the big bad fear. It's controlling my life. No, not really. You need to free your fear. You need to stop bothering it. You need to stop disturbing it. You need to stop holding on to it. And that's what's difficult. Why is it difficult? Because there's something inside of us that wants to feel it. It wants to be in it. See, some people, they learn when they're children, they learn that when they suffer enough, they get what they want. Isn't that true? You have some small children, they cry very loud. Just yesterday night, we had our neighbor, we could hear the child of the neighbor was just crying and crying and crying. And the neighbors were trying to make it calm by just affectionately saying, "Shut up!" and again, but it didn't work. Yeah, so the child would just cry more and more. And when it was time for the crying to stop, it stopped. But so, sometimes a child wants something. He says, I want to have that brand new toy. And the parents say no. Then the child cries. It suffers hard. And it goes on the nerves of the parents. Heavily. It pulls the parents. It screams and suffers until the parents might say, okay, here you have that brand new toy. And I have my peace. What that teaches the children is, what? If you suffer enough, you get what you want. It's just unfortunate that most of us have not unlearned that. We're still practicing that widely. If I just suffer enough and hard enough and long enough, if I'm just attached enough to my victim role, then I will at some point get what I want. It's a very childish behavior, actually, of the mind. This kind of, if I'm just worried and scared enough, the world will be all If I'm just scared of it enough, the fear will make sure that I'll be safe. Very likely not. In fact, very likely the opposite, that your fear will make you freak out so much that you won't be safe. Just like being sad and depressed will not get you a better relationship. It'll make it worse. Being needy, which is an expression of fear in a relationship. I'm very needy. I need to control you so that you can continue making me happy. If that need goes out of hand, it will destroy the relationship. It will create exactly what you don't want. So it is wise to let go of fear, to not get attached to it, to see it clearly for what it is. And learn alternative ways of actually engaging life, or being with life. Which is a better way would be kindness, ease. If you're at peace, life is going to be easier. Things are going to be easier. So you can replace these heavy emotions. You can relearn, you can reteach the mind. But first of all, let go. You have to clearly realize that feeling is just feeling. It doesn't last. For that, you have to learn to sit down quietly and watch. Particularly in tough times. Because you can. Because you can. And if you have a community like this nearby, you have someone to fall back on, so we're all friends. So you can come and have help here. You can ask for help, and it's perfectly good to do so. I do so. Sometimes I'm overwhelmed by my own emotions and my own things, and practice just doesn't grasp because it's just too powerful of a current, so I can't, so I ask for help. It took me a while to actually learn that, because I feel like, I always have to be strong and powerful, and I'm teaching these things, and I should be above it, and I should be beyond it. But no, there's just some things that just I can't do it. I can't, it's just too strong. So you ask for help. I go to my teacher, ask him for help. I go and talk with my friends. I listen to teachings. I read inspiring books. And I watch. And I go in it with courage. Sometimes it requires some courage. So I'm going to look at this now. I'm not going to distract myself from this. I'm going to look at this one now. And then the most liberating, most amazing things happen. I just watch. I'm very scared of that feeling. I'm very scared of these kind of things coming up. And I sit down and I watch and I notice, it's nothing. That gives you fuel on the spiritual path. It's very powerful. It's very liberating when you can finally notice, wow, I don't really have to buy into it. And you learn it from experience, not through philosophy. That's a big difference. And it requires the courage to learn to be with yourself quietly every day for some time. To get to know yourself. Take time for yourself. And let go of these underlying painful patterns that are necessary to lead a fulfilling and happy life. And find peace. The point is not trying to be happy all the time. The point is peace. To be at ease with the way it is, no matter how it is. There's much to be said about fear and worry. These are very pervasive and very powerful states. But time is a bit limited, so we still have hopefully the next session together, and then we can discuss a bit further. So I hope that this at least was already a little bit helpful. Remember, you can distract yourself, it's fine. You can approach yourself kindly with kindness, and if you can just fully surrender to this moment and see clearly feelings as feelings, thoughts as thoughts, again and again, until it loses its power. Okay? Good. So, are there any questions?